All right. And John, did you get my email? Okay. All right, so that's kind of what we're gonna go off of tonight is just kind of going down the agenda. Um, so we'll call the order at 7:05. This was sent to everybody. Sorry, everybody that's on the meeting is here in official capacity, so I think there doesn't need to be an audience for staff and citizens. The January 19th minutes. Did anybody have any comments on those?
I think you mean, sorry, Mark, February 16.
Did I say yes? I did mean sorry. You know what happened is for some reason I printed the February agenda. I must have got messed up when I did this. So I read off I got February right, but I meant to fix it up. We just reprinted one. I only noticed it after we got logged on. So anyway, all right. Any comments against the February 16th minutes?
I'm good.
All right, so no comments there. All right, I guess we'll just kind of go over kind of what was going on with the mini split project. I don't know, Mary Ellen, if you want to kind of give us a brief on if you had any progress with the, giving the details to the ECS plan to the state, or not the state, but the rep that was going to help us out.
Right. Our Eversource account rep sent me an email that a person in Eversource who figures out the incentive money and financing wanted to see a plan. So I talked to Mark and Rose and Dr. Sarli and sent them the one that was least expensive, which was ESC. And so I sent the plan, plus I hooked up Joe with Valencia from Eversource, and they're going to work together on figuring it out. And definitely the ESC had 3 measures that would qualify us for the highest incentive. The person from AirTemp emailed me. I have not gotten back to him to say that we don't want to work with them. I just sort of let it hang there. But when I asked him about domestic hot water, he said, well, we can add that to the proposal. And that one was already the highest cost. So they really didn't think about the 3 measures. So anyway, we went with ESC. And at some point they'll get back to us with how much money Eversource would contribute to the program. One thing on the solar, which sort of ties into that, is that the amount of solar that we use in Hampton through all municipal buildings is not a large amount compared to other places. So right now the grant that's open is for large users, and the one for smaller users will reopen in August. So Earthlight, Stefan from Earthlight is currently working on large systems, and he said at the end of March, when he's submitted all those proposals, he'll get back to us and look at our proposal again and work on that a bit for submission in August. So as far as hoping that solar will power our heat pumps, that's on hold a bit. But so that's the two heat pump updates.
What about like if that's the case though, that whole scenario where the multiple town entities could help to power the mini split system if we go that route, it sounds like that would actually, wouldn't that be good if we're currently not using that much solar? Or are we not producing that much solar, or are we not using that much solar?
You mean how? Okay, the solar in a new solar installation, like a town hall or the garage, could power up to 5 municipal buildings. Depending,
Oh,
they could size it to do 5 municipal buildings. It's all within our town, no other towns. I thought you were kind of thinking it was multiple towns. It's
No,
all
sorry,
within our
just
town.
all the building, I was just thinking all the different solar systems we have in the town. I thought you had heard, I heard you say that we're not drawing off them that much. We're not using that much of what we're producing, but that's not the case. I misheard you.
I don't think, no, we're using what I mean,
Yeah.
I'd have to look at I think Dr. Sarli looked at that we're still buying electricity
Right.
in the winter especially. Yeah.
Okay, the other thing was, there's a cost saving incentive here. If we go with this new system of mini splits, we would save on oil. And how much oil would that be? What's that dollar figure too? That would go again.
Right, that would be 100%. They said it would be 100% of the oil, because included in the project that they would be doing would be the domestic hot water and the heat
Yeah.
and cooling and ventilation too. So it would be whatever amount we're using now
Which is
would
what,
be
how many
saved.
thousand a year, 60,000, something like that? For oil?
Sally sent that to us, but I don't have it right in front of me.
It will be
Yeah,
about
She
that this
sent us
year
the
though.
bill.
Yeah, last year was 52.6. This
So
year,
times 10 years, times 20 years, that adds up.
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't as much years prior just because cost was not as expensive.
Yeah, and our usage was down because this is an unusual winter.
Yeah, it was warm.
Right.
Good for us, but yep.
Um,
All right.
the other thing for mini splits and John, I think it was at the last meeting or maybe the second meeting, 2 meetings ago, you had kind of a list of things that you had been thinking about, like things that you want to know about before we would, want to pull the trigger, I'll say. I was just wondering if it would be worth us all feeding Mary Ellen, and I would keep it a group email, but like I think it would be important that we, kind of hash out at least our group's questions so that, there's no surprise at the end to say, hey, what about this? What about that? So I would ask that, like, between David, John, Rose, and then Mary Ellen, you probably already have been asking a lot of the questions. So, I think it would be useful to have like a combined list of things, concerns that we are going to eventually want the company to be able to answer before we would want to move forward. Is that something you guys would be willing to kind of work on and just shoot over to Mary Ellen? And they could be rough, and we could always at the next meeting, if we had the list of 10 questions, we can always refine what people meant, and maybe that would trigger somebody else to think, well, if we answer that, what about the follow-up? So I think it would be good to have that compiled. So if we do get some positive information from the state, that we're not just getting to that now. So that makes sense.
I did send the questions that John had mentioned about warranty, about thermostats and that sort out already.
Okay.
I believe that the thermostats will be centrally controlled in the office. So when I get those answered back, I'll send them out. ESC overlooked that email. AirTemp actually replied on that one there because they had already included their warranty information. But for their systems, the thermostats would be individual in the rooms, which is not as good, I don't think, but so yeah, I will send that out when Joe responds to it, and then we can always ask more questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to find some time and just think about the whole process myself and some of the things. So, all right.
It might help to have them come out and walk us through where the equipment will be and what equipment it will be and
Yeah.
how the system work.
Okay. Yeah, because
That's what we were talking about at the meeting. I recall that we'd like to be involved in a walkthrough.
Yeah,
John and I
And David,
mentioned
you
that.
Well,
probably
David-
already have had a chance to walk through, but John, you may not have had a chance yet, but I don't know. If that's something, maybe Dr. Sarli, we could arrange if the next F and O meeting, I don't know if we could work with, our new custodian, and his name is escaping me right now, to see if we could almost go to the school early and then just have him, bring us down to the furnace room and kind of see what we have now and the
Sure.
configuration of stuff.
His name's Armin. Yeah, absolutely.
Armin, thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So we'll work on the questions and then we'll work on trying to arrange just a walkthrough. And if we did it right before the next F and O meeting, it would be after school hours, so we wouldn't have to worry quite so much about being in the school with the kids and signing in and all. Well, we'd probably still sign in, but either way, we'll figure that out.
do you
All right,
want, do you want somebody from ESC to talk about what they would install at that time?
I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I'm also wondering, until we understand, if the state comes back and says they're gonna give us $40,000, I mean, not the state, I keep saying that. If Eversource comes back and says they're gonna give us $40,000 and it's gonna be a $500,000 bill to get this done, I just don't foresee that's feasible. But if they come back and say
Yeah.
they're gonna give us $300,000 and it's a $500,000 project, I'm just using numbers. I know that's not quite the right accurate numbers, but then I think we would, be a little bit more inclined to answer some of these questions and work through that. But that's just my thought on it. But if anybody disagrees, I'll put it that way, we can have a different discussion. So.
It'll be substantial from what our representative said.
Well,
Yeah.
Mary Ellen, just again on a timetable of those guys getting back to you with the savings, the I don't know what you want to call it, the grants, I guess, right? Or rebates on
Incentive
the
point. Yeah, they
incentive
they
stuff.
they just
What was the
yeah
timetable?
they didn't give me a timetable. I can ask, but I didn't pester them with, have you done it yet? So
Yeah, well,
I
understand.
don't know
yeah.
yet. Yeah.
Couple of months, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
but as soon as I hear from them, I'll shoot out an email to everybody.
Well, is it?
And go ahead.
No, I don't know how booked up ECS is, whether it's worth having them, see if they're available for the April meeting. And then if things change, we can always cancel the meeting or
True.
cancel their part of it, but if we get on their schedule, at least it's not something where if we change our mind and we want to ask them right before the next meeting and they're not available, it's a month out now. They probably aren't
Okay.
scheduled. So why don't we do that? Why don't we reach out, see if they would be available to come talk to us more about the system? And if need be, we'll just tell them that we're not ready yet. So is that
What
okay with
time?
you, David and John?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay with me. Like I say, I got a lot of questions about not only getting this system in and how it's going to cost the town, but so much of what it's going to take to maintain all this.
Right.
What time would you want them?
I mean, we haven't gotten down to the next meeting discussion yet. I forget even what day it is, but we could do 6 o'clock with them
Okay.
if people could support that. That might have to be an in-person meeting.
Yeah.
And Dr. Sarli, we could do it hybrid. We could meet with them And then, do whatever we want to do as far as walking around, and then we could go into the library and like link back into via Zoom, so it's not like you have to be there in person yourselves.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I agree with you, John. We don't want to jump into this because if we, I'll say, install a nightmare and, within several months, wish we had oil still, that's not good when you're spending a couple $100,000. So we got to make sure that we know the ins and outs of the system. And to your point, making sure that we're making fiscally responsible decisions for the town, so.
Absolutely. And I don't want to be the anchor that drags in the mud over this whole thing, holding everything up. But I would like to pose some of these questions to some of these guys so that I can get some kind of an idea. So when somebody says to me, "Gee, why did you do this?" You've got an answer right there. You can say, "This is the reason why we did it." Not only is it an incentive from the air source, but it's also a very good plus for the town. It's going to save us money, and it offsets the maintenance of this. And just, I really want to have answers because you're going to get asked a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah. Yep. All right.
Sometimes, Mark, the other thing that works is if these guys, I think ECS has installed a system that's up and running at some other school that we could go and look at and get some feedback from, the school's, janitor or whoever runs the system and how it works. Is it working good, not working good? What problems have they had?
Yeah. Do we have that
We
list?
should get a
from
reference from them.
ECS?
ECS, I thought they did something maybe at Eastern Connecticut State College. Am I off based on that? I can't remember something about that. They installed a system.
I don't
Dr.
remember. I
Sally,
remember
Marilyn,
the portfolio that we got was from Portland Public Schools.
Okay.
With, that was spelling out the cost and what they did, et cetera. But they have a whole bunch of schools. I should
Yeah.
just ask if there's a school that's comparable to our size.
Then we could go and talk to some people there.
Yeah.
If they could,
Great.
I'm sure they could hook us up with somebody, a good reference.
Okay.
If they want to sell the product, I'm sure they can make that
Yeah.
happen for us.
I think he offered, during his presentation, when he was, at least, I think all three of the people said that they would be willing to provide us some contacts and,
Yep.
references that we can go talk to. So
It'd be worth a road trip,
absolutely, yeah.
hands
I
on.
could get out of work. You mean I don't have to go down to EB for the day?
That's right. We'll
I'm
call your
game.
boss and tell them you're off for the day.
That's right.
Would pay.
David Hallback told me to take the day off.
They'll let you do it, no
And
problem.
they'll remember that name and they'll say, "Hey, don't mess with David. Whatever he does, don't do it." All right. All right. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, we'll let's try to get that squared away. That would be a great way to figure out.
You can
And,
learn a lot just by
that would
talking
help
to somebody
John with
that's,
some of your concerns, if we go there
Yeah.
and they say, yeah, every single day, New England Mechanical or this company is over here, that's gonna be a red flag, but if they have a different story, that would be good to hear too, so,
Excellent idea.
all right. Oh, so Mary Ellen, you're willing to just ask that?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, I will.
Okay. All right, I think that was, I guess, my discussion for the mini splits. Anybody else, any other thing they want to bring up for that project? Again, Mary Ellen, thank you very much for all your hard work on this. It would not be nearly anywhere near where we're at now if you hadn't been so diligent in doing all the hard work you've been doing. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
And David too. We did our field trips through the buildings.
Yeah. Great. All right. I guess, Dr. Sarli, do you have any updates for the PA system?
Other than we can probably take it off of our agenda going forward because it's installed and it works and we got some training. It's wonderful. It's been a great addition into our building. You're
Good.
muted, Mark. I know you're talking, but you're muted.
Fantastic.
Poor John. Poor John just had to hear, my black lab was sitting right behind me and my wife just drove in from being out the high school for the sports thing tonight. And so my black lab has a way of greeting people that come here, so sorry. John got the brunt of it, but I was able to hit mute on the meeting fast enough, so.
I love it. Your security system.
Yeah, she's really great at that. Anyway, all right, so she's outside now, should be good. All right, so that's great about the PA system.
And I
Did
want
they
to
give us a final bill yet?
so I have a final number for you. I will have that. Let me get that for you. Not off the top of my head, because I know we just received the remainder of what I believe it was the remainder. Let me get back to you with the exact number, okay?
Okay, yep.
And
All
I
right.
do appreciate the support from everybody on the board in moving forward with that as quickly as we could.
Yeah, and it's a good project to get done. I was, unfortunately, it took a long time for the company to actually get the supplies to us, but once they got going at it, it seems like they made pretty good progress getting it installed, so.
They did. They did a great job.
Good. All right. Any other questions on the PA system then? All right, hearing none, we'll move on. So the 5-year plan. Why am I confused right now? What year are we in? We're in the 2022, 2023 year,
Yes.
I think.
Yes,
Yeah, okay. And so I had sent out the Word version, as everybody was able to open that up and look at it.
Yes.
So I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of embarrassed with myself. I thought I had touched this over the Christmas break or last fall, but it turns out it didn't look like I had touched it much since last May, so I apologize for that. But for the most part, last year we had finished the parking lot. So going down the list, I think I think what did they do? Oh, never mind. I know what I did. Last year in the 2021, 2022 year. I don't know why this is confusing me so much, but we did do the parking lot. That was last year. Because I remember we painted it over the summer, but did we pave it? Did we pave it in August? Dr. Sarli, were you? That was, I think Dr. Ola was still here because I remember working with him trying to get a hold of the previous admin because she was
I think it got
worried
done
about
before
the-
school started, right?
Yeah, but I think it also happened before. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's kind of mincing words, but I think it may have happened before July of last year.
Yeah, Mark, I believe it was June. It was like right when teachers got out. It was that summer, like right when summer started for teachers and students.
Got it. So all right. So we will call that a 2021, 2022 project.
actually, Mark, I would
Yep.
recommend that you look at when we paid for it, which fiscal
Oh,
year it
true.
was in. Sally would know.
Yeah,
Or-
all right.
or the,
I'll ask Sally about that. But
town
either way,
paid.
that was completed.
Yeah,
It'll just make a difference of whether it goes into this year or last year.
Right.
Same with the playscape. I'm not exactly, that was kind of ECS grant money, so it wasn't necessarily. I think we also did that towards the. No, we did that at the beginning of this year, right? We did, Dr. Sarli, you coordinated that, so that was definitely in this year. And then. Did we end up doing anything with the playground for the younger kids, putting in new mulch?
We have not. That's actually been kind of a big debate this year as
Okay.
to if we take out the blue chips and replace them with the mulch like you see in the
Yeah.
the older kid
The other
area.
area. Yeah.
That's been
Okay.
quite the conversation for us. So we haven't landed anywhere officially on it.
All right. And then I know in 2020, I think it was just last year. I know you had looked into it and you figured out the actual requirements for replacing the tank. The
Yes,
arsenic tank.
yep, we're all set with that for another, I believe it's another year or two. So
Right.
we're good with
But
that.
I just can't remember when. You remember, Mary Ellen, when did we replace the first one? For some reason, I don't have it under 2021, 22, 22, but I think it was in that year.
I think it's 2021, but it's not listed. That's
Yeah,
another one.
okay.
I think we should just get the bills and when they were paid.
All right, yeah, I'll ask
Because
Sally
we
to
did
tell me
both
when
of
that.
them. We did one and then we did the next the following year, and it was both before this year.
I don't think we did the second one because when Dr. Sarli started looking into it, they said that we didn't need to, we do them every 4 years. So it's really each tank is every 8 years
Exactly.
and they're split between every 4 years. I think that's I think
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah, that's,
So,
yeah.
so that second tank, we actually didn't need to replace because we weren't at that 4-year mark yet.
But we have one down in 17, 18.
Oh.
I can look at our minutes too, because every time we did it, Frank had
Oh.
us put it, we had it in the minutes, so I can look at some of the
Oh.
minutes for
Yeah,
those
yeah,
things.
maybe that is what it is, because that would make sense, because that would have been the 17, 18 year would be the one that we would have had to, the next 4 years would have been 2021, 2022-ish, which would have been the second tank. And then to like what Dr. Sarli was saying, that other tank only has to be replaced 8 years after 2018, 2017 timeframe. So that would make sense. That would be the 8-year cycle. Yeah, okay. So, all right, I'll yeah, you want to check the minutes and if not, I'll reach out to Sally
Sure.
to ask her about when the second one was.
Yeah, I just pulled it up real quick, Mark, and it looks like July of 2022. But we could double check that.
That makes sense. Okay. All right, was there any, can you think of any other projects? I mean, between David and Mary Ellen or Rose? I mean, well, Rose isn't gonna, never mind. Don't answer that, Rose. But do you remember any other projects that we tackled?
Yeah,
Maybe
both
before
pavings
Dr.
in there,
Sarli
right?
got here?
We
No,
had two pavings.
all the
Yeah.
paving's done, or is there
Um,
still remaining paving to do? In that
There's
other,
the third area, so that is in the 2022, 2023, the second grouping of projects.
okay,
So that that we don't
That's
need to
this year.
include. Well, it would, yeah, but it's not gonna be. Because we don't have any funds for that. We used all the municipal funds for the main parking lot area. And this last area is the basketball court area, which isn't actually that terrible. Could
So
be
we
done,
need to
but
move that we need to move that out of 22, 23,
yes,
because we're not doing, yeah.
Yep. We have to move
And,
that. We'll move the second arsenic tank because we don't have to do that.
and
Or
we take out
we
the
already did it
sunroom,
actually in a way.
and take out the
Uh,
sunroom too. We're not gonna do that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, great. Well, that because of I'll be honest with you, I can't remember what conclusion we came to at the full board meeting. about that. And the well, I don't really want to bring that up in a non-executive session, but
Dr.
concern
Sarli
that was
is
brought
going,
up.
yeah, Dr. Sarli is going to investigate it.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll be able to
Yeah.
report on it next week, Mark.
okay. So I'm actually hesitant to take that off the list until we know more, but yeah, you're right, Mary Ellen, we probably,
Okay.
unless there's a reason we have to, you probably, you're right, we're gonna have to, hold off until we have some more capital non-recurring funds or something else fundraised for it or something, so. Okay, so I'll move those things.
what-
Do we have anything in 2022, 2023 that's?
Yeah.
Mini splits?
There
I
was
mean-
something in the kitchen.
Yeah, we got a
Um,
new dishwasher in the kitchen and we and with the install of the PA system.
Oh, PA system. So those would be things that are done.
Mhm.
As well as the
Right, you
new,
could move that. Yeah.
Yep.
And the dishwasher. So I thought we already had done a dishwasher. We did a kitchen dishwasher. Oh, it was repaired, but now it had to be replaced.
yeah, we have a brand new one now.
Right.
How? I don't know, does everybody feel like? I guess never mind, I didn't have prices. In some areas, for projects coming up, I think I tried to have like what we thought the estimates would be, but not for things that we had completed, so. Okay. So the PA system will be on the done pile. The parking lot, or the playscape will be on the done pile. The parking lot will probably be on the done pile. We just have to figure out if it's in Wood G or not, and then the arsenic tank, actually, if like I'll figure out what 8 years is from 2017. I guess
It'll be
2025,
2026 actually, Mark.
2026.
That'll be the next time
Uh,
that we need to replace one.
Okay, I'll move that to 2026. Any other, I think I'll put the mini split investigation into this year's list of projects.
Sure.
Probably, like I said, we'll leave the sunroom for now, but maybe that'll move into the 2023, 2024 projects.
Mark,
And-
if I just can add, I received a quote and I don't know what is going on. I'm going to be honest with you, but I received a quote to replace a failed air dryer for the compressor on our building's control system. I did not request that, so I'm thinking Armin did. So I just have to touch base with him, but that is the quote we received from Encore is in my email. I just I don't know what it's for exactly, so I just need some time to look into that.
What is it again?
It is for our air dryer for the compressor in the building control system. And I have to read that because I just don't know what it is. I apologize.
For the compressor.
Knowledge, I believe that the air dryer goes on the compressor, and the compressor is probably tied into the thermostats that are in the rooms for the heating system. I know a lot of your industrial systems are set up that way.
The quote,
How
just so you guys know what the quote is that they provided us, with labor and parts was $3,920. But again, I just don't have enough knowledge to share what happened.
So it's like an air dryer as part of the thermostat system. But also, I'll wait till you send us more details and then I'll add it into the 5-year plan then. Oh, I just wanted to
Mark,
give Armin kudos. I was at the school the other day. And as I was getting whiplash because my daughter was practicing on my car, that's a standard. I was noticing that the fences look extremely good, like the chain link fence. I think Armin must have been out there. Like it's always been full of bittersweet and vines and stuff like that, and they're cleaned right up all the way as far as I could see. And so, it's been years that we've been trying to get that to happen, and I just really appreciated the fact that he just went out and did that, or had somebody do it, but they looked a lot better.
I'll pass the message on. Thank you, Mark.
Okay,
Mark,
yes,
you have under 2324, investigation for installation of variable frequency drives on the air handling units. We did something with variable frequency
Yeah.
drives back when we had the energy audit, which was, well, I'd have to look
it
up
was
the
like,
date.
yeah,
Yeah,
because we had done a
Um,
couple of those. Energy audit was back in 2016, 2017.
yeah, and we did follow up on a few things, and I know that variable frequency drives were on that list, so
Yeah,
we'll
we
have
may
to
have be
pull
done
out
with that.
bills. Yeah,
And this almost goes by the wayside depending on where we do the mini splits, but if we don't go down
Right,
that path,
right.
maybe it's worth having a new energy audit done to kind of, if we need to try to make the current system we have as efficient as possible, it might be worth redoing it with a new set of eyes or something. So,
Yeah, because COVID interrupted it because we didn't do demand control. We left
Right.
them open 24/7. So
yeah, right,
yeah,
okay. I'll go look through because I could have sworn I had in one of my folders, I had like the list of things that we had done for that energy
Mhm.
audit, and I thought I had gotten these couple things out of the final things that we hadn't done, but I'll double check.
Okay.
Okay. Anything? Maybe it's worth a question to Armin, just on or Armin, sorry. If he has anything that's in his, vision of things that we're gonna have to do, Dr. Sarli, now that he's been kind of in that position for a little while, and then I guess I'd ask you if you had, now that you've, been involved with the school, I'll say building and grounds for a little while, if there's something that you can see looming that we should think about, or, so.
There was one thing that the children brought up to us a few years back to install a drinking, a water bottle filling
Yeah.
station outside the door. Well, it would have to be tapped out, I think, from the boys' room. So, or somewhere around the gym where they could fill up their water bottles. We needed power and we needed the water.
Yeah,
And we started looking at that and dropped it. But anyway, the kids brought that to us.
yeah. No, that's fair. I have no idea, like before we did the solar, they had redone the roof, right? So the roof is probably done within the last, well, it was before I joined the board, but it's gotta be within the last 15 years, right? Do we know that? But so that's probably not needed for another couple of years.
Hope not.
Yeah. All right. All right, yeah, so maybe, I mean, Dr. Sarli, I don't know, maybe if you can touch base with Armin. And maybe we can
Absolutely.
talk to him even before, like, if we do the walk around with him. If he's willing to, do that with us before the next meeting, then we can maybe pick his brain on things that he's worried about from a maintenance standpoint, so,
Yes, absolutely.
all
But
right.
do you have in here somewhere, Mark, that the cupola was done? That
Yeah, that
was,
was, where
I'll look it
Dr.
up. Oh, yeah, okay, we got it in here. Yep, that was 16, 17. Okay, it's there.
And then I think I had when we did the septic system, repair was in 2020. Catch basin repair, yeah. We've done a lot. We've got 2 full pages of stuff we've done. It's almost like. So, we do stuff somewhat.
I will share that high on Sam's list is the repair of our doors.
Or are they not operating or just to make them operate better?
It's just what happens in time when things settle and there's doors that don't, the
Oh.
building is kind of
Oh,
settled.
so it's more like
doors
the
are-
internal like classroom doors, not necessarily the entry doors and like actual like exit doors.
Yeah, there's some that have been impacted. So we do have a
Okay.
quote for every door that's been impacted.
Okay.
Although that quote, looking at it now is going to be considered too old to be, we'd have to get a new quote, but
That's fair.
it's a pretty
I mean,
expensive.
is that something we could piecemeal, like especially at, not that this year will be one of those years, but if there is years where we had additional funds at the end of the year, it almost seems like that would be, if you did 1 or 2, it would only be, a couple $1,000s versus like whatever the grand scheme, all the doors would be type of thing, so.
Mhm. Yeah,
Or,
could.
if we had capital non-recurring costs or
Mm.
funds, we could use that and it wouldn't, I'll say break the bank type of thing, so.
Absolutely.
But with that discussion, is that something that's going to be discussed in executive session for safety and security? If they're external doors? Okay.
All right. All right. So that's all I think I had for now for the 5-year plan.
Mark, you didn't
Yes.
talk about the tractor. What's going on with the tractor?
That's a good question. I don't know, has Armin looked at that at all, Dr. Sarli, that you know of? We have the lawnmower and we had a tractor. Both were, the lawnmower was newer than the tractor, but that was also well loved, so.
Definitely, I don't know if I want to say replacement because I don't know that off the top of my head, but I believe actually Public Works was helping in looking at some of our, small machinery and if they can help us fix some things like our snow blower, things like that. So did we get to the tractor is the question. We may not have because we prioritized our winter from the timing of, my onboarding and Armin's onboarding. We were more concerned with winter coming up. So this is on our horizon coming now into the spring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we looked at it a couple of years ago, our concern was that we had looked at just like doing something like a 0-turn size mower. And I think at least some of us had the concern that that was a little bit too focused in one spot. Like, so when we would prefer to almost have like what we have now with the John Deere tractor is something that you can put a lawnmower on it or a mowing deck on it, but you can also put a bucket on it, and so that in the winter, especially with like, I'm sure Armin would be willing to do some snow removal, that you have that multi-functioning piece of equipment versus, having to get 2 things to do kind of,
Okay.
the 2 different jobs require 2 different pieces of equipment, so.
Okay.
So the plan is to have Armin do the lawn?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But I think, to be fair, I think, that the lawnmower probably could do the fronts and stuff like that, but like, I don't know, so that the tractor is up to doing the full field anymore. I don't know, it's been sitting around now for 3 or 4 years, pretty dormant, so, and it was hurting before that, so. We might have to add that to the list of things, it's on there. $25,000 is probably reasonable-ish for a used tractor, but right now, most of those costs are up pretty high. But I'm on, Craigslist and other places, and even there's a local place down in Canterbury where that's probably you know, you could probably get a pretty decent machine for that much money, so that's probably about what we're gonna have to spend though. Anyway. All right. So yeah, I think more to come on the David, but I think it needs to be on our list of things, especially if we are counting on the custodian to do a lot of these tasks that we'd like them to do. All right, I think that's good for the 5-year plan. So, current budget, 2022, 2023. Dr. Sarli, is there anything that, you know, for this team that we should be aware of and be concerned with?
We're doing okay right now. We're okay. So nothing concerning for me to share for the 22-23 school year. No.
When was the last time we got oil?
I'd have to go to my
That's
email.
okay.
It
We
was
probably at least gotta get, we're probably gonna at least have to get one more fill up then.
yeah, it was about 3 weeks ago, I want to say. So we'll probably need one more before we're officially in spring summer mode.
Yeah, okay,
Hmm.
all right. Fair enough. And then 2023, 2024 budget, we had the discussion, I guess. I guess we had the special meeting that went over the different line items.
Yes, and
Um,
what you're gonna see tomorrow that's gonna go out in the board packet is the updated drafts for the 3.5% and the 3% and some adjustments we made from staff that and I think that's gonna be expected who are no longer taking insurance that said they were. So there's a little bit of that back and forth. So we think we're a little more comfortable at least in where we are. So just to give you figures, we're at if we did the 3.5%. We're at 4.44 as a total overall for the next school year. And then if we do the 3%, we're at 4.33. So to put dollars to it, it's a difference of $2,219 between 3% versus 3.5%.
wow, that's not, yeah, okay. And the 3.5% was what, would reflect the same as what the town did over the last 2 years, because they did a 4 and a 3, and we just did 3.5 last year, so it'd be consistent with what we did last year too. Okay. All right, oh, that's good, so I'm glad to hear there were no, you know, insurance surprises. Could have gone the other way too, so.
Right, and that is with we did have that increase from, we had anticipated 20%, but it went 25.7, so that was
Yeah.
added in. And then dental, we were thinking of it going to 4.5, but it actually remained at 0. So
Oh,
okay.
All right,
The two changes that we were able to make.
okay. I appreciate your and Sally's hard work on putting that together, so.
Absolutely.
Anybody have any questions for now for that? Obviously, we'll see the data tomorrow in our packets. All right, hearing none, I'm good with that. All right, audience for staff and citizens, everybody's again here in official meeting. I didn't see anybody, nobody's in the waiting room, I'm guessing. So.
No.
All right, so for next agenda planning, like I said, we'll, I don't even know, Marianne, I don't have my calendar up right now. I don't know what date that will be.
The 20th.
Okay. Yeah. That works, people.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh, it's all right, John. I mean, the 20th would be our next meeting for the F&O group. It's the Thursday before the regular meeting.
You're saying 20th?
Yeah, April 20th, yep. And then I guess I don't know how that would work, like if we do the 6 o'clock walk around with Armin. If I can get that coordinated, I'd let everybody know, but I think our meeting would officially start at 7 still. But then if we want the ECS to present, we would have to be in an official meeting for them to do that. But
Mark, I think it would take the whole hour to do the walk around, to be honest. We
okay,
could still start at 7.
and then if
Because
ECS meet, they are with us and they do the walk around with us, we can always just have a formal discussion and, you know, go through some of the questions like you have, John, that we'll have compiled with them at the 7 o'clock at the beginning of the meeting. So I'll put on the agenda to have discussion / presentation from the mini split company on the agenda, and then probably have a pretty similar agenda to follow minus the PA system besides that. And by then maybe I'll have my goal will be to have a more refined 5-year plan put together with the notes from tonight that we can go over as well. And so I think we'll talk more, but it, you know, might be some type of hybrid meeting. So that we can, you know, have, you know, the ability to be remote where it's helpful for people, but then also be able to meet in person at the school. All right. Sound like a plan?
Yep.
Close enough anyway?
Yep.
All right, let's see. So I think that brings us to adjournment. And there's no voting, so we just adjourn.